This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Dave, it is, as people are, well, as we're recording this, we're almost, 48 hours away from draft day? Well, just over 48 hours. It's basically 3 hours from Wednesday. Is when we are recording this.
It's quickly approaching my bedtime.
People will be watching this pretty much 48 hours away, if not a little before, from the NBA draft. I have to correct myself because off camera I said NFL draft.
Yeah, way off there. This one actually matters.
NFL draft this Thursday. Before I say what we're going to talk about with the draft, 5:30 Central Time, we are going to be live, twitch.tv, Most Valuable Podcast, the whole draft. I want to do the whole draft, but
is it 5:30 Central Time?
Yeah, that's what Sean said.
Okay.
Sean said 5:30 because he said draft started at 6 because it's 7 Eastern. You can stat check me, Dave.
I'm going to stat
it's
check.
It's 5:30 Central Time because the draft starts at 6. That's what Sean sent us. But we are going to be live on twitch.tv / Most Valuable Podcast. We are going to be streaming probably the entire first round. I'd love to do both rounds, but I just don't think we'll be there all night.
Wise.
Because I remember you and I were at VidCon last year. We were watching the second round at Red Robin.
We were.
But that was like 7 o'clock out
watching
there.
Sean record. It was the funniest thing.
Exactly. Watching him on the live stream from his house. But we'll be doing that. Had to pump that. Also, patreon.com / Most Valuable Podcast. Many of the stuff that we're talking about now, we kind of talked about in the Discord. You can do that if you're at the bronze level, as low as $1. You can join our Discord chat with patrons, chat with MVP crew. You can also get the MVP podcast a month early. And then you can go all the way up to our gold tier, which is $10. You can join a podcast of your choice and talk about what you would like to talk about. But Dave, we've got some draft topics going on today. We're going to talk about our team, the team that we've got some skin in the game with, and what they should do, not just in the draft, but off-season as well after the draft happens. Then we're going to take a look at Jarrett Culver and Darius Garland. Sean and I last week were like, hey, could Culver go to the Lakers? Well, the Lakers traded the pick for Anthony Davis, so who's going to trade up for either one of these two guys? Then we're going to take a look at just what trades we could see on draft night. That doesn't mean top 10. That means out of the top 10, even if it's some second rounders or outside of the lottery. But let's dive into our team. I'm going to do it again. Because there's some rumors. We're going to start with the draft.
Yep.
Then after the draft, kind of go into free agency because that's the order in which they come. But earlier, there were rumors kind of speculating that the Bulls are one of 3 teams with the Celtics and T-Wolves that are interested in Darius Garland because there's not a for sure that Garland's going to go 4, especially if the Hawks trade with the Pelicans, which it looks like they may send the 8 and the 10 to New Orleans for the 4th overall pick.
8-10-34, I think, was the rumor that had been floated most recently.
8-10-34.
By the way, comment section who kept saying, that's too much, that'll never happen.
That's what you offered?
Unfortunately, that's exactly what the discussion is right now.
Apparently 8 and 10, what I offered was too much to some people.
Yeah.
But it looks like that'll happen. The Hawks have been linked to Jarrett Culver, but the Bulls, there was another thing, according to the Sun-Times, the Bulls' interest in Darius Garland is more of a smokescreen than reality. The front office is zeroing in on DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, and Sekou Demboya. So, Dave, the thing I will ask you, knowing that those are the guys the Bulls are targeting in on, knowing in your head kind of how you feel the top 6 picks are going to go in front of us, who's the best person for the Bulls to take? Or I should say this, who would be the best person to be available for the Bulls to take at number 7 on Thursday?
So it's tough because I understand the reason to go with each one of these guys. Like Sekou, you have a prospect who is raw, who's got potential as being a 3-4 kind of tweener. Not extremely long, but good physicals, good shot, and he's got, the ability to grow defensively still. Interesting, but fit with the Bulls. I'm not sure with that Lowry, Wendell at the 4-5, where does he really fit in? And then I go to Cam, the underperformer at college, the high school superstar, though. Like, is there still gold to dig if we just keep panning that river? Are we going to get gold eventually? Or you go for one of the best players in this year in college, in Hunter. And I like DeAndre Hunter, but I just don't know how much better he's going to get. And if what we're seeing out of him is his top end, I'm taking a shot at someone like Cam. I'm going to take a risk because I feel like in the last couple of years, we've played it pretty well. Like Wendell Carter was like the can't miss guy of last year's draft in my mind. He was the like, nothing he does is amazing, but he's got all the tools, and I think that he'll develop really well. The year before was Lowry. We obviously did the trade for Lowry, but at the same time it was, he's a 7-footer who can shoot threes. I mean, like, how much is there to hate on that? So I feel like this is the time to take a chance because hopefully with this core, we're not picking 7 again anytime soon.
And just to, because Sean and I did the same thing, looking back at last year, you had in our final, at that time was the 6.0, you had Wendell at 9 to the Knicks because you had a Utah trade with the Bulls. I had
Totally
Wendell...
happened.
Technically, I had it right. I had Wendell at 7 to the Bulls, but the Bulls made a trade with the Grizzlies, so we went to the Grizzlies at 7 instead of Chicago. And then Sean had Wendell at 9 to the Knicks, so the We Agree podcast was right on. So he was a top 10 guy. I was shocked when the Bulls took him because I didn't think he'd be on our radar. But the big question for me that affects the Bulls is what's going to happen with that Cavs pick.
Yep.
Because the way I kind of see it is the top 3 in no particular order, Zion, Ja, RJ, is going to be our top 3. At 4, if that Hawks trade goes through, it looks like 4 could either be Garland.
It's just Hunter.
It could be.
It's literally.
At 4?
I'm sorry, not Hunter. Culver.
So
yeah.
Culver. Then at 5, it depends. Does a team trade up for Garland? Do the Cavs
take Garland?
Do the Cavs take DeAndre Hunter? Because that's another person that they've been linked to, like, in the draft.
Yeah.
I think the Bulls are, because then the Suns right after that are, the Suns
are
right
locked in
after
with
that.
Kobe White pretty much.
They would take Kobe White.
Yep.
Then if I'm the Bulls, I would go Cam Reddish, but I wouldn't be upset if we went Sekou because I kind of feel like the Bulls are going to go Sekou Demboya only because like you look at first off like 2 years ago we take Markkanen who yes he played at Arizona but he's a non-U.S. born player, a Finnish player.
Hence the finisher. One of the coolest names in basketball.
Then you take last year where I know we got Wendell with the 7th pick, but then look at later on. We got
Hutch.
A wing who athletic. And like you said with Sekou, athletic. And if we're already thinking, hey, man, Hutch can't really shoot. We don't really like. I seen things on Twitter where it's like, man, Hutch been working out, but can he shoot the rock? Has he been working on his shot?
Yeah, that's literally all that matters. When you're as old as he is, come on.
Because he looks ripped. He like the tweet I saw is like, man, he's on that Lowry diet. Out there. I could see the Bulls going, hey, let's go to that athletic side again. Let's take that dive into Sekou.
It's not like Cam's not athletic.
No, and that's the thing. I would go.
He's got the body.
I would go Cam Reddish because I have been on the button with it of, and that's the wrong way to say it. I have been on the side, I should say, of I don't care what Cam did last year. A part of it was when you're playing with RJ and Zion, somebody's numbers has got to go down, and somebody's not going to be in their ideal situation. That was Cam Reddish. Well, with the Bulls, I feel like if he's put on the right kind of squad with the second team, because no way he's going to be starting.
Yeah.
We've got Automatic. We've got Zach out there. But if he's out there with the right second team, he could be our leader. And it's like, hey, you know what, Cam? You kind of run the second team for us, depending on who our point guard is and what we do in free agency.
Yeah.
But it's like he could be one of the top guys on our second team. And then maybe in the future, maybe we move Otto in the future. Maybe we just let him go. Then he develops into our starting 3 in the starting lineup.
Also, it gives us some flexibility if we want to go with some interesting lineups, you know, utilizing Zach at the point guard and rolling wing heavy. You can kind of slide Cam in there at the 2, roll Otto at the 3, you know, have that extra wing lineup. I think that I don't know about running the second unit or anything like that because he's
because if we
just
get
young.
Pat Bev's going to run the second unit,
No,
right?
Pat Bev's going to run the starters. Chris Dunn will run the second unit.
I don't know.
About?
Jake in the Discord, when he said Cam and Pat Bev run that on the 2 unit, I was like, oh, you know what? That to me is like, yeah, I know I want Pat Bev out there if they've got like a point guard that needs to be guarded, like a Steph Curry.
Yeah.
But like, I could, those two together, like, hey, Pat Bev's defense makes it to where, like, Cam and Pat Bev together defensively would be a nice 1-2 punch.
I understand.
And
I'm
Chris
just saying.
Dunn's no slack defensively either,
Exactly.
but he's no Pat Bev.
Just can't shoot.
Yeah.
Pat Bev's not a great shooter, but he's better than Chris Dunn is.
Do you think it's a sure thing we get Pat Bev?
Feels like it. Feels like we're going to find a way to fuck it up, though.
Dave's like, because we always do. No one wants to come and play
Seriously. Like, as much as he's like, Chicago's in my blood and all that. Yeah, no. But getting back to Cam Reddish's fit on this team, I think it's probably the best possible outcome from those three guys, because if we go ahead and get DeAndre, he can come in and he's basically a similar version of what we have in Otto Porter. He might have, he's got slightly higher upside, but he's also only a couple of years younger. It's not even like a big dip. He's already just a couple of years away from there. He's closer to his prime. And I know we're arguing about like whatever because our
Basically
core is so young.
semantics.
Well, our core is so young, and you need some veterans in there to help round out that roster. And, we did that last year with Hutch coming in as an older player at the end of the draft. And I don't know that I want to go for another older guy when we can go ahead and get, Cam, who is super young, or Sekou, who's even younger.
Yeah.
And kind of play with that timeline a little. I know we talked about this team could be in the playoffs next year because the East is such a cluster right now. And it's just like, no one knows what's going to happen. The NBA right now is on fire, basically.
Yeah.
There's just names being tossed out everywhere. No one wants to stay home. It's insane. The amount of, it's F5 season, boys. Like, that's all I'm doing all day is checking Twitter, checking Reddit for those updates. But that's why I'm like, you don't give up on a chance at getting someone with as much upside as Cam Reddish or Sekou Demboya for someone who, yes, we know what he can do. He's a good player. He's a good defender. I wouldn't be like, I'm not going to be mad at them. I'm just disappointed, if they went for the safe pick.
Well, and here's
because that's the thing is he is a safe pick.
Here's the question I want to ask. And yes, DeAndre Hunter would be the safe pick. I'd rather have Sekou
Swing for
or
the
Cam
fences,
Reddish.
man. This class, who knows?
Well, it's kind of like the saying that, so earlier I saw Bull Scripted quoted a tweet that was talking about Nasir Little of like, what if he ended up with the Bulls? Like, let's say the Bulls make a trade with the Thunder at 21 to get an extra pick, for say, and Nasir Little's there.
Wow. If he was still there at 21, I'd be shocked.
Basically, it was a thing of like, well, you know what? Like, you can't hit home runs by just hitting singles. Like, you got to take chances. You got to swing for the fences sometime. And that's what I almost feel like, go with Cam or go with Sekou. Because like you said, Sekou's really young, and you'd have to develop him.
Yep.
Cam Reddish has everybody is negative on Cam Reddish. In like I'm talking like non-executives like us. It's basically like bash on Cam Reddish season in the comment sections and on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a bad season, like this and that. Where
I'm hoping he bounces back.
DeAndre Hunter would be like, hey, we're just gonna go with that, like you said, safe pick.
Yeah, he produced in college. He got better in college. He's a good defender. He's a good shooter. Does anything he does take you to the next level? Is he elite at any one skill?
Anything he do?
The answer is no. I mean, it's nothing stopping him from getting there in the future. And I just, people want to put that limiter on you because you're a little older.
And that's why
the only thing I would add like an asterisk to.
I want to throw out this kind of question to you, because you talked about how you need veterans on a team. And like, let's say if we take Sekou's really young, and how does that fit the timeline? Could the Bulls be looking at it this way? Hey, if especially like a Kawhi stays in Toronto, KD comes over to the Knicks, because that's still possible. We don't know what's going to happen with him. Sure. Everything could change. We don't want like to be that team that we were when Jimmy and D-Wade and Rondo were here, that we make the 8th seed just to get bounced by the Bucks. Could the Bulls be looking, hey, if we can shop an Otto, even if we shop a Zach, get this team young, like even if we go with Sekou.
We're already incredibly young.
That's what I'm saying. Go with Sekou, then next year's draft is highly guard heavy, especially point guard heavy.
Yep.
Next year's draft after that is the high school draft. And then by that time, Markkanen is the veteran, and that's the goal, that Markkanen would turn into the veteran, kind of like with the Warriors, how Steph and Clay and Draymond grew with that team and turned into their veterans.
Yeah, I mean that's the ideal situation. I don't know what your counterpoint is, but yes, that is exactly what they could do.
Compared to like, hey, let's go with a DeAndre Hunter, the safe side. DeAndre Hunter, who's an older college prospect, so that we can try to make a run now with Zach
Pick
and
up
Otto
Pat Beverly. Sounds exactly like what we're going to do. I'm sorry. That just sounds like the Bulls. Why not collect the playoff paychecks? That's a Reinsdorf move.
Yeah.
Get a couple home games. Give me the money.
Yeah, get those butts money in the seats. But would you be mad if the Bulls traded Zach, traded Otto, went younger to maybe focus on those next 2 drafts?
Neither one of those guys is really that old in the first place, is my thought. Like, Otto's turning 26.
When I say
25.
younger, I mean like 18, 19.
Right,
like
I understand.
Cam Reddish, Sekou.
But like, you're trading, one guy in Otto who, yeah, we know his contract's laughable, but like, he's a good player. And Zach LaVine, who just put up 25 and 5 and 4, or 25, 4 and 4, somewhere in that range. Like, no, I don't know what kind of value we're going to get back for them because of their current contract states. So I don't think that we're going to get equal value for their talent level because of their contracts. So trading them off right now, probably not going to be super valuable. I think we just roll with this team, see if we get a healthy season and go to the playoffs.
And Zach, his contract kind of reminds me of a hockey contract because it's a flat one where it's 19.5 this year, next year, and in 2021. Whereas Otto, he's going to make about $27 million this season, and then if he takes his player op, he's making almost $28.5 in 2020.
That's pretty good.
I don't know if he's going to do the Al Horford move and say, "Hey,
I'd rather just leave.
I'll decline that, and I will take a cheaper one," or the Harrison Barnes of like, "Hey, I will decline this and try to go somewhere else because anything is possible."
Al Horford also leaving.
Oh, is he? I thought the last thing we heard was that he was going to do the Tom Brady thing and take a cheaper one.
Looking like that cheaper one is elsewhere.
So everything is burning in Boston.
Yeah,
is what you were telling me.
That's literally what I wrote in Discord.
Okay.
Is Boston is on fire.
Well, the thing is, I've been recording 2 podcasts before this.
Gotta
so
stick up on
Discord.
this. Yeah, Celtics still believe Horford may have a chance, but.
What about free agency? So let's say in the draft, we've got Hunter, Sekou, and Cam are the guys we're looking at. What's your target free agency? Because for me, I'm like, once I heard the rumor of like Pat Bev coming out saying nice things about Chicago, like, hey, he's like a Chicago kid, Dave, I'm getting giddy. Like, if we don't get Pat Bev, I think I'm setting myself up for failure.
Really?
To where it's like...
I mean, that's what's putting you over the top right now is Pat Bev.
What other free agent do you think that we're going to be A, in the running for, and B, could actually sign this free agency?
I mean, you didn't bring up, Lord and Savior and Derrick Rose. I'm a little shocked that, as a Chicago homer, as hard as you are, that you're just not like drooling over that potential. Honestly, outside of that, we've taken swings at guys. We did the Jabari Parker thing. It didn't go wrong. It didn't go well. It just happened. I think that honestly, at the end of the day, we ended up with Otto Porter.
Exactly.
Worked out
Win-win
okay in my
us.
mind. Jabari got paid for 1 year. Everything worked out well. Outside of that, though, like, we're not going to all the top ones. So KD, no. Horford, not wrong. Not the right timeline. Harrison Barnes, don't need him. Like Gasol, he's not going anywhere. So all the older guys, I'm just ruling out right away. If there's a chance to take a stab at some of the younger players, you were talking about, can we try to steal away Malcolm Brogdon? It seems unlikely that he's going to leave because now there's rumors of Milwaukee trading away some bad contracts or trying to get some bad contracts off so they can afford Chris Midd and Malcolm Brogdon and potentially even Brook Lopez to all return next year, which would be amazing for them. So you're kind of looking at that second tier of players at that point, and I don't know if I want to spend... there's not anyone amazing who really wows me. Who's like, that's the guy. That's our key to picking up. If we got a couple pieces, sure. But like, we're in such a weird state where it's like, we don't need to get anyone long-term because long-term, I don't know what this team's going to be. Short-term, we could, try throwing some money at like Jeremy Lamb because we have had zero luck with shooting guards outside Zach LaVine. Like, we've been trying to bring up guys off the G League for years now. None of them have talent. Yeah. It's unfortunate. They're just not good enough to play at the NBA level. They don't have the full skill set. So if we get someone like Jeremy Lamb to steal away from Charlotte, that could be intriguing. That could help fill out that roster a little bit deeper. I would totally dig that. But there's not a ton of names that really intrigue me. Like, you're getting excited about a 31-year-old Patrick Beverley, and I'm like, what's that do for you other than you're excited he's from Chicago?
That's where we're at in Chicago, Dave, where the point guards are basically... I don't think we'll go for Darius Garland because of, like I said, like sometimes things that's a smokescreen. Plus, I've been on the side of I kind of don't want Garland because if I want my point guard, if we're gonna go rookie point guard, I'll wait and take one next year.
Agreed.
Where I think Chris Dunn and I actually had a conversation with somebody that I went to high school with. Listen to the podcast. I'll give him a shout out, Jake, who was like...
Different Jake.
Yeah, different Jake, not Jake Neverman, Jake W. Basically, he was like, well, what's the thing with Chris Dunn while everyone bashes him? Because Chris Dunn's not bad for what he is. The only thing is in my mind, we're asking him to be what he's not. We're asking him to be a starting point guard when he's not. He's a second unit point guard to me. Or he's that guy where it's like, okay, we need a little bit of defense. Let's throw in Chris Dunn to help out, but Pat Bev would be a better version than that.
Are you giving up on him too early is my thought, because
and that's the
it's the Ricky Rubio thought.
Out. Exactly. Where it's like he was an older college player when he came into the league, and that was the thought. Is like,
he struggled
if the
so
Bulls,
hard
after the season, or even if we trade him this offseason, are we doing that? Are we giving up on him too early, much like Ricky Rubio?
Yeah, I think that the T-Wolves had Rubio but they obviously had him for more years because he came in the league a little bit earlier. But
and they owned him since draft day. We traded for him in the Jimmy trade.
Right. I just think that giving up on someone like Chris Dunn at this point in his career, unless he wants monumental money when his rookie deal is up, I don't see any harm in bringing him back again at a decent contract. But I don't know. I think people are expecting a little too much growth out of a guy who hasn't got as many games under his belt as his age says he should. You know? Had he been a freshman star and come out to the NBA at age 20, by 25 we should see something. But like, because his rookie year was so limited because of Thibs and like the role that he was given as here's your 4 minutes of bench time, make good use of it or else, like that basically 1 year down the hole. Then he got injured. Then we had like that. We basically had like one small window of him with a solid set of games. He didn't even have the full core roster with him. So like, I think that he deserves this year as like a see what you can do as a like you are now you have no more excuses.
Yeah,
this is
true contract year for Chris Dunn.
Absolutely. So I'm not done with him quite yet. But you know who I would think pickup wise?
Go ahead.
Dragon Bender.
Really?
Why not? Like, there's no way that he's going to cost a lot of money. He's a 7-footer who can shoot threes. Why not just bring him off the bench as a Lowry backup? He can't be expensive.
I mean, to me, I was going to ask, do we target a big in free agency? Because technically, Rolo is off the books right now, unless we try to get him in free agency again, which I haven't heard anything about us doing that. I mean, Dragon Bender wouldn't be the worst because, I mean, we know that Markkanen is our 4. We know that Wendell's going to be the 5.
And Markkanen can play the 5. We know that as well, so we've got switchability there.
Here's a question I want to ask you, though. This was the big I was going to throw out, only because I just, by typing in Bulls free agency, this came up on Pippen Ain't Easy of the Fansided Network.
And
I just want to ask you your thought.
Sure.
DeMarcus Cousins.
No.
To me, I am also a no. The only reason I'm a no is because Jim Boylan's our head coach. And I don't see Boylan and DeMarcus Cousins getting along.
No.
Remember Sacramento? That's the DeMarcus we would get with Jim Boylan.
He's to cross sports references here. He's not a Shiano man.
Yeah.
He's not one to fall in line and
he's not a Gruden grinder.
He's not a Gruden grinder. He's not one who's going to take the
a Boylan bro.
The intense requirements from Jim Boylan's practice regiment might not mesh well with DeMarcus Cousins. Now, don't get me wrong.
Steve Kerr a little bit laid back.
What was that gesture over there?
A little bit laid back. Oh, you know what it is. You watch Game of Zones.
I'm not talking about it all, Ricky. I deny all of that knowledge. No, I mean, it's just, look, Boogie works hard as hell. No one's going to deny him. Like, the fact that he made his way back from an injury, and to get injured again, to then make his way back in an even shorter amount of time. Incredible to play in the finals. Like, that dude's got work ethic. I love his attitude, but his personality is sometimes too loud for the environment. And I fear, like you said,
Plus,
that matching with the coach and the timeline doesn't match.
He doesn't work with that kind of coach that's like, hey, I'm going to ride your back and kind of, not that like, I'm going to motivate you by yelling at you almost. Yep. That's not Boogie. Boogie don't roll like that. So that's why I saw that and I was like, ooh, like, would I love Boogie on the Bulls? Yeah. But I just don't think there is a way to get him on the Bulls. Dragon Bender, I mentioned with you, would be interesting. That would go maybe double up on the 4. Do you see us doubling up on a 5, though, instead? Instead of, like, Bender
could be a 5. He's a 7-footer.
Okay,
I mean, it's
true.
He's a 4 or a 5. He's incredibly timid on the offensive end. Defensive end, he's still, like, the dude's 21. He's still raw. He's still younger than, like, Chris Dunn was when he got drafted. Like, I just think that people give up on talent too early. I still love Mario Hezonja. I love Euro players, so that's a me knock. Like, Mario Hezonja's point guard was fucking killing it in New York last year to end the season. I loved it. But no, I think that Bender, like, he's still got some time to grow.
Who was it that I compared to Hezonja that you got mad at?
Luka.
Oh, that was right. It was Luka.
I wanted to strangle you. You're sitting next to me and like, this Luka guy sounds a lot like that Mario Hezonja hype, right? And I was like, hey, I'm going to fucking kill you, Ricky.
Hezonja had tons of, because I remember that was the draft where it was this was before Sean was a part of the MVP crew.
Yeah.
And the basketball draft was Brandon and I. And I remember the huge hype for Mario Hezonja.
He had highlight reels like nobody else. That man could bounce. Luka can't bounce at all. I don't know if you've seen that. No. What Euro guys are not all the same, Ricky, unfortunately.
I mean, hey, the whole Luka thing, I'll be honest, was just to have... Part of it was also to have a different take than you and Sean. But I didn't
Being right is fun, too.
I didn't think that Luka would be as good as he was. Because I've always had the kind of knock, that stereotype when it came to Euro players. Is there anybody else, free agency, that you think we need to mention when it comes to the Bulls?
I mean, there's going to be a ton of names out there, and I think we're going to end up scraping closer to the bottom of the barrel than the top of the barrel kind of guys. It's Chicago. We don't get a lot of the best players coming in, like the big names, I should say. Not the best players, because the people who do come here are awesome, but we don't get a lot of big names. So I would say lower the expectations down, and it's going to be an interesting offseason because it all depends on, if we're going with a wing in the draft, we need to, like you said, attack a point guard and attack for the 4-5. So we need someone who can, one of those two spots, actually we need to fill in both those spots, look at our current roster.
And it also depends on how, like you mentioned, how long those contracts, because right now our 3 longest contracts are Zach, Hutch, and Wendell. All are up at the 2020 or 2022.
2022. It's like next year we have no contract.
We've got a ton. We've got Chris Dunn. We've got basically Chris Dunn, Shaq Harrelson, Walt Lemon Jr., Pooh.
Mini Derrick Rose out there.
Denzel Valentine and Blakeney all up next year, and then possibly Hutch, which won't, Marketing, which won't, Wendell, which won't.
Yeah.
Those are all team ops, but we're going to take those, obviously.
Probably. Yeah, no, there's a lot of guys out there. I could see us bringing in some mid-level to lower tier guys, try to offer some short-term cash again, because that's the best option we've got. Is like we can overpay you for a year or two and get you interested, and maybe you can earn that contract in a secondary contract after that. But I don't see us swinging for the fences here.
Do you think we're a playoff team next year?
Funny enough, I think we got a shot. I'm a homer.
Dave's like, we're going to be the 8th seed and they get bounced in the first. We'll give a close series. Someone will get injured and then we'll lose.
That's the Bulls basketball way.
Do we bring back Rondo?
I would love Rondo, but I don't think he comes back.
No, I don't
think he's got better options at this point in his career.
Yet again, I don't think him and Boylan would get along. I think there's a possibility.
I don't know.
There's a world they could.
I think they could match personalities real hard.
But I just see the worst. Like
Rondo loves all effort all the time. True. He's like Jimmy,
Good
man.
Point.
He wants to grind it out in practice. Jimmy just had that Dwayne Wade like mentality at the end, which
and he
separated
also
him.
had D Wade in his ear too, which did not rub Rondo the right way. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. in that comment section.
Last second question.
Go ahead.
Second round pick. Who you got him going with?
Ooh, I would love Shamori. There's 3 guys I want.
Shamori Ponce has interviewed us 3 times? 2 times?
2.
2 times we've had him in the
there's 3 guys I want for us.
Yep.
There's Shamori Ponce, Isaiah Roby, or Carson Edwards. That's what I want.
I'm intrigued by Carson Edwards at this point in the second round. I don't want Shamori Ponce necessarily just because I don't know how well he'll translate. Isaiah Roby's an interesting one. He's got upside. Taco Fall at 7, people. Taco Fall at 7.
Subreddits galore.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, mostly my picks are based off of who we've worked out and the workout schedule. And like Roby, we've worked out twice. Actually, you know who I could see us going with in the second round if he falls? Lewis King. We worked him out twice.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if he falls. I mean, you said a lot of teams are getting a lot of chatter on him.
I like Lewis King.
I know you've liked Lewis King the whole year, but I remember
there's
reading up there's
a
a lot of chatter.
There's a lot of teams that have worked him out twice.
Yeah.
And I don't
maybe
think
someone steals him in the late 1.
Oh. So I just looked at Tankathon. They changed theirs completely.
Yeah.
Guess where they have Bowl going?
20.
21
Yep.
to the Thunder. That seems very low to me.
Everybody's all of a sudden terrified of him. I don't understand it. I'm not changing my stance.
I'm just curious. Like who else they've got? Oh, Darius Claxton they got in their first round now. Oh,
yep.
Interesting. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section.